I remember the night she said it, offhand, with that sly little grin that had once pulled me toward her. The kind of look that used to whisper, "We're in this together." But that night, it felt like a blade. We were on a friend's apartment rooftop, soft light strung above, laughter spilling all around. She stood too close to some stranger, her fingers grazing his arm like it was familiar. I stayed silent, watching as she tilted her head back and laughed. That same laugh that once filled our kitchen on lazy Sundays now belonged to a crowd that didn't know us. When she finally glanced my way, she caught my eyes. "Jealous," she teased, voice light but cutting. I met her gaze without a flinch. "No," I said. "I'm done." For a beat, her smile slipped. Then she laughed. Again softer, like she thought I was kidding or didn't care. But something in me broke clean. The kind of break you don't patch. We'd been together almost for years, long enough for me to read her silences, the shift in her tone, the way she'd bite her lip when a lie was coming. I'd ignored those things for months, telling myself that distance was normal, that every couple drifts and comes back. But lately, everything about her was different. The clothes, the secrets, the way she lived halfway out of our life. I wasn't blind. I was just afraid to be right. But that night, watching her like that, I understood. Love doesn't shatter all at once. It fades, bleeding through 100 tiny cuts you keep pretending don't hurt. When we got home, she kicked off her shoes, tossed her purse on the chair. "You're quiet," she said, pretending to care. "I've got nothing left," I told her. She sighed, impatient. "Oh, come on, Daniel. Don't make it a scene." That was her mistake. She thought silence was drama. She never saw that it was emptiness, pure, bone-deep fatigue. The kind that comes from holding together what someone else already let go. She walked past me to the kitchen, her scent trailing like the memory of what used to be. I sat there, staring at the lipstick print on a half-drunk glass of wine. For so long, I believed faithfulness was enough, that if I stayed, if I waited, she'd find her way back. But love can't survive on patience alone. It needs truth, effort, and the will to keep choosing each other. She came back holding a glass of water, leaning against the counter. "You're not actually mad, are you?" she asked. I looked at her, really looked. The way she stood there, casual, waiting for me to soothe her, to slip into my usual role, the calm one, the patient one. "No," I said. "I'm not mad." She lifted a brow. "Then what's wrong?" "You stopped feeling like home a long time ago," I said quietly. "I just didn't want to see it." The silence that followed was thick, the kind that presses against your chest until every breath feels heavy. For once, she had nothing to say. I stood, grabbed my jacket and moved toward the door. Her voice broke behind me, sharp with disbelief. "Where are you going?" "To breathe," I said. "Maybe to remember who I was before I let you make me small." She didn't answer. Outside, the air was cold and still. The streetlights shimmered as I walked, and it hit me. The ache I felt wasn't anger or jealousy. It was finality. And being done, truly done, was both terrifying and weightless. I didn't go far, just wandered until the pain quieted to something bearable. There's a strange calm in realizing the person you've been chasing was never yours to keep. You stop running. You start breathing. When I finally came back to the apartment, the lights were still on. She sat on the couch, scrolling through her phone like nothing had cracked between us. That said it all. I could have shouted, demanded answers. But what was left to win? You can't force someone to care. She looked up. "So, are we going to talk or not?" There's nothing left to say, I told her. Her jaw tightened. You're overreacting. I was just talking to someone. It's not a crime to have friends. I never said it was, I replied. But maybe it's a problem when you light up for strangers. More than you ever do for me. She rolled her eyes, muttering something. That stung just enough to make me notice how numb I'd become. I used to shrink at that tone, used to smooth things over, terrified of the silence that followed. But that night, I simply watched her and saw how far gone we really were. You know what's strange? I said. I kept thinking you'd come back. That one day you'd remember what we had and fight for it. And now, she asked, folding her arms. Now I think you left long before I noticed. Her face flickered, guilt, irritation. But she said nothing. I picked up the photo frame on the table. From our Seattle trip, the one with the endless rain and cheap umbrella. We were soaked, laughing, wrapped in something that felt unbreakable. For a heartbeat, I wanted to believe we could find that again. But love held up by memory alone is just nostalgia pretending to be hope. I set the frame down, face first. She sighed. So that's it? You're walking away? That's it, I said. You taught me something. When someone shows you how little you mean, believe them the first time. The words hit her. I saw it. She wasn't ready for this version of me. The one who didn't bend. As I packed a small bag, she lingered in the doorway. You'll regret this, she said, voice trembling under the edge. Maybe, I said. But at least I'll regret it freely. I left before she could reply. For the next few days, I stayed with a friend, quiet, hollow. It's strange how silence can both hurt and heal. By the end of the week, I returned to the apartment one last time. She was gone. Maybe out, maybe done. I walked through each room, ghosts of laughter and arguments, echoing in the stillness. It didn't make the way I thought it would. It just felt clean. On the counter, a note waited, scribbled in her hurried handwriting. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just stopped feeling it. I smiled faintly. Not an apology, just truth. And maybe that was enough. I folded it, left it where it lay, and locked the door behind me. That night, I drove to the old pier we used to visit overlooking the bay. The water shimmered beneath the city lights, waves whispering against the wood. For the first time in months, I felt still. I scrolled through our photos and deleted them one by one. Not in anger, but release. I whispered to the wind, you were right. I wasn't jealous. I was finished. And for once, it didn't sound like defeat. It sounded like freedom. Because endings aren't always losses. Sometimes they're the moment you stop fighting for someone who already walked away. And somewhere between the tide and the lights, I realized I hadn't lost her that night. I'd finally found myself.